Is escaping America, escaping the Matrix? I've been really thinking about that because I myself have been contemplating on multiple moves. One to Asia, one to Africa. I got opportunities in different places, and I just started to think really like, is that the actual solution, right? By escaping America, right? Is that actually breaking free from the Matrix? And I think it's a really important topic to think about for real, because really there's some core issues with that. When you leave America, let's say you go to a place in Thailand, let's say you go to a place in Africa, West or East Africa, you still are really dependent on the buying power of the United States dollar, right? So like moving to these countries don't really truly make any difference unless you are making the United States dollar. If you move to Thailand and you start making Thai baht, you're going to be living the same quality of life that anybody over in Thailand is living, right? If you go to somewhere in Africa, West Africa or whatever, where they make cities, I think it's cities, right? CIDIS, could be wrong. Yeah, you're going to be living the same quality of life. The main purpose of moving is a more peaceful culture, a less rat wheel like Matrix type culture, and a higher quality of life, right? Or at least for me, I don't know what else y'all be moving for. So yeah, if you leave but you're still on the United States dollar Matrix system, then you still tethered into that Matrix system. You gotta still find a way to. It might be drastically less. Maybe you can live off $1,500 a month, right? And Bangkok or Pattaya or somewhere over there, or Ghana or Kenya. Shout out to the passport bros and all these different movements that are all these different movements that are trying to go back home and we're indigenous to America, right? Whatever, most of us. But anyways, yeah, if you still are dependent on the United States dollar, then you are absolutely still in the Matrix system. And in fact, now there could be less opportunities for you. So that's something to think about, right? Another thing is escape versus integration. Are you escaping something versus integrating? A lot of these different communities, they got an expat community, and then you just live within that expat community, but you in Thailand, but you in Africa, but really you hanging around all these Americans with this American culture mindedness. You're not integrating to the culture, which is the thing that attracted you to the place to begin with. So what are we actually doing? Are we fleeing America, or are we literally integrating and trying to become anew by relocating geographically? I think that's something that you would have to meditate on within yourself. The third point that I wanted to make up, I got notes down here, is local integration versus colonial tourism. I mean, that leads back to point number 2. If you're in these expat communities, you're not really integrating into the culture and learning the things that you love about said culture and becoming anew that way. You are simply, you're literally escaping, and then you're keeping your culture, the good things maybe, and then the bad things potentially that programmed us from our environment. Okay. The fourth point, quality of life, the cost versus connection. $3 meals and $400 apartments do sound great. But what is the long-term cost of being far from family, cultural familiarity and community support systems? Are you gaining peace or just escaping pressure? That is such an amazing point. Are you gaining peace or escaping pressure? I feel like for me, both. Because I am considering relocating. I am, and I'll ultimately probably end up multi-coastal or multinational. End up spending some time here and then coming back to the States. But I want to use that statement. Pressure creates diamonds. Pressure creates diamonds. Or you can fold, or what I'm saying. Pressure can burst pipes. We gotta stay on an abundant frequency, y'all. When I realized, when I start having those thoughts of, man, I gotta escape and I gotta do this and that and I gotta get up out of here, man, give me a second. That's when I feel like a lot of things started to, not really. Give me a second, bro. That's when things really didn't start. That's when things started, dwindling for me, because I was just too much in a fear-based consciousness. I was too much in a thinking that I couldn't find a way due to a shrinking economy or whatever, the tariffs and AI and this and that. And yeah, of course, I had to lay off along with, some leaders in the organization as well. But, when they came out with the automobile and everybody was, banging horseshoes on whatever they call horse feet, you know what I'm saying? What happened to those jobs? Did those guys, end up working in a manufacturing plant putting Ford Model Ts together, or did they just fall off the cliff and like what happened to them? No, you gotta adapt and overcome. Adapt and overcome. You know what I'm saying? That's signs in a mental growth of an abundant consciousness, to figure out, okay, cool, all this is happening, what's going to grow now because of this, right? So the real shift has to be internal. True sovereignty comes from building a portable, resilient skill set and emotional intelligence, not geography, right? Being in control of your mind, your energy, your income streams, and values matter more than being out of the States. I'll read that again. Being in control of your mind, energy, income streams, and values matter more than being out of the States. So, moving can be a part of your strategy ultimately. I think the end conclusion is, I definitely think you should travel. You should definitely, if you haven't been outside of the United States, you need to get you a passport. You need to travel, because there's a lot of learning opportunities. You're going to become a greater person, I truly believe. I'm a veteran, so I've been in some places. I'm not going to go through all that right now. That's not a part of this video. But you definitely should have a passport. You definitely should be traveling. But whereas just a few months ago, my mind was, I gotta get out of here. Like, this place is collapsing socially, economically, morally, blah, 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 blah. Like, those things may be true, but there's other truths. There's higher truths. And you aren't on the mental frequency to even see it. You don't have the mental aperture. I don't know if you know anything about cameras. I used to be a photographer, videographer. I still am. You never lose skills. You might have to dust it off and knock some rust off. So I'm a photographer, videographer. Aperture. How much open the lens is. You have to increase your aperture so you can see opportunities outside of what's easily noticeable, what's in plain view discovery. A law enforcement term, right? It's easy to see that right there. It's easy to see, especially when they projected it on the news, on doom channels. Nowadays they got YouTube channels where they market doom to you. Oh, there's no jobs. Oh, the end of World War III. Oh, gold is rising and the dollar's falling. Oh, this, oh, that, and you got to be able to, take that information and still turn it into an ingredient that you can use to bake your destiny cake. And it got to be some kind of destiny cake that you enjoy. What's living in a bunker underground because you manifested living on a reality of a World War III and a nuclear fallout. And I know I'm talking a little metaphysically here. This is fourth dimension, fifth dimensional, conversation topics that I'm having. Go check out that movie, Everything Happening All at Once. Check out The Matrix. If you haven't seen The Matrix, y'all, I don't know what the hell's going on with you. Rewatch The Matrix, all four of them. 1, 2, 3. 2 and 3 is really one. And then the fourth one, where Neo and Trinity, they actually become the one together. Trinity flying around. Yeah, kind of, that was a whoops. Sorry if you haven't seen it already. If you haven't seen it, again, and you're on this channel, this is kind of interesting. But anyways, I'm going to take off from this video. I think things to look at. A lot of people that will be soon attracted to this channel are, you know, more enlightened people, more conscious people, people who think deep about what's going on with the economy, with the society, and they're trying to plan a potential reality for themselves and their family that they can thrive in. So I'm not saying that a move is the right thing or the wrong thing, because ultimately everybody has a very specific thing for themselves. Everybody has a very specific thing for themselves. So you need to find out what's going to work for you. And if you doing anything out of fear, I guarantee you it's not going to work. You're growing a fear seed. It's going to grow a fear tree. It doesn't matter if you move to wherever, you're going to take you with you. If you're moving on abundance, if you're thinking of moving to a location because you have a job offer that is going to, you know, that's a different frequency to move, to relocate for, versus, oh, I got to get out of here. You're going to get out of there and you're going to get banged in your face right over there, right? So thank you so much. I'm going to shut this video down. Like, share, subscribe if you took something from this video. Hope you did. Long form content. I know that, you know, everybody now, they on a TikTok, you know, consciousness. You got 7 seconds on average to, you know, gain somebody's attention, or they gonna switch off the video. But yeah, nah, stick with me as I get better in this YouTube thing. Find the topics that you guys are talking about, see the patterns and the things in the world, so I can you know, help you out as best as possible. One, and by using YouTube and watching my videos back, you know, self-improve. All right, so I'm gonna check out. I'll see you later. Peace.